for ages I've been wanting to paint some of these night scenes, and when you put a lot of dark watercolour on, it can look quite messy. So getting a chance to play with this black watercolour paper, I think it could work quite well. Now I put some metallic watercolour paints onto one side, and I've put some of my normal SAA range of watercolours, because really it's the chalkier ones that are going to show up, and some of them just don't show up at all. So I wanted to see what I've got to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some opaque white, and I've got a little brush, and it's not a watercolour brush, it's an acrylic brush, but there's a reason for that. And I'm just going to wet this, and I think we'll take our line about here, and I'm just going to get my horizon or harbour line in. Right, using this little acrylic brush, because it's nice and stiff, I'm just going to place that harbour wall with little dots, random dots, and let's carry on. I want to make sure I get it lined up, otherwise we'll have to adjust in amount. And this will give me a place to work from. And just random sparkly little bits. But the main thing at the moment is to get that line so that we don't end up with like buildings sloping down. And that brush is quite good for doing that. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is using a card and some white paint. I'm just spreading that along the edge, and I think we will place this one here. That is fine. And we've got a tall building there. And I'm thinking it's better to paint everything in white to start with, and then to add colour later. Now that's probably about over here. It's a slightly small one, so let's just take that off the bottom. That's about that space. It probably doesn't matter if we don't get it exactly right. And there's a taller one, space there. And there. And this sort of bit of a one there. And then this tall shape here. And I think that could be a little bit taller. Artistic license. Right, I'm using a tiny bit of card now, and I'm still using my white. Actually, I can get very messy doing this. We need to make a more definite line here too. Okay, and then we've got the top of a building about there. Just wet that. I don't want it too wet because it won't show up. Then we have some zigzags, so we've got like a cross there. And if it's a little bit random, that's fine. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Possibly I'm going to have to go a bit higher. 3, 4, 5. Okay. is quite tall there. Pull that over. A little bit random. Oh, we've got some lights and here, and then something quite bright there. Right, let's put some of these tiny sparkly bits in and some of the reflections. There's quite a strong reflection there, and then underneath something here. So I'm just doing the light and dark shapes that I see. And I think I scratched that one a little bit. So they're all sorts of different and sparkly. I think that's probably a lot of the stronger colours. There's quite a lot of that's taller. And that's that sort of shape there. And if that comes away, that would be quite good. And this one has got lots of windows, so we can just do this. Use this little flat acrylic brush, and we just get some more little sparkly bits in the water. Like fairy lights. It was so beautiful with all the fireworks and everything going on. And I'm really sort of, I'm not creating it exact, it's what I'm trying to create is the atmosphere, because it was just so beautiful. Now we have some random lights, so we don't want to do too many. Not too many there. And some of that's a bit lighter, and I'm sort of thinking that possibly a silver in there might be quite nice, but let's just see what happens when we do the rest of this. We've got all these little twinkly bits here. I think probably before I put silver in, I might get some colour in, because the worst thing I could do is overdo this. Now, let's wash that out a bit so it's just a bit of hint of colour there, not too dark. Hopefully they're dry quite light. And there's a few more lighter. As they've got water, they should sort of almost disappear when it's there. And sort of a bit of a line along here. These lines should fade away later. Just teasing that. You can tell that I'm thinking quite a lot, can't you? It really is, I think, getting the atmosphere of it. This is fading into the black, which is really good. Okay, now I can go back to do the little very thick white onto there, the really sparkly little lights. Dotting. Take that right up to the edge. Okay, so that's our basic shape, our lights and our very dark. Now is the time to get some strong colour into it with those lovely, lovely lights. I'm going to go for an opera rose to start with. And then that can be reflected down into here. I'm just going to add a little bit of white into that too. That will make it show up a little bit more. Now we've got a lovely Ferris wheel there that keeps changing colour, and I think the opera rose might be quite nice to use for that. Just trying to see that building, little one, yeah, it's here. And I think a few rungs, so let's use one of our tiny little cards and into the opera rose and the white, and just get some of those shapes. And it could be moving around, maybe a bit smaller. Well, now I know my purple won't show up, but I think if I mix it with some of the white opaque paint, it will. So let's just try that. I'm sure this will show up. And that's sort of a multicolour there. Make sure you don't get the white paint near your other paints, because it won't do it a lot of good. I think a bit more opera rose too. Some beautiful reflections, aren't there? And make Let's use that same colour mix to put some of that onto this building. It's just so beautiful to see. Just scratch that through a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to look good. Let's get some of the orange in now. The orange is quite strong, so that should sort of hold its own. And I think a little bit of raw sienna. Oh, some beautiful colours going in. I need a green, but my greens aren't that strong. Let's go for a lemon yellow with a little bit of Prussian blue added in. I think that might do it. And I'm going to use my little brush. Again. I don't want to overdo this because I think you could make it look a bit gungy, and but I do want to get some lovely colour into it. And I think we'll carry on with that green whilst we've got it on our brush. And there's quite a few of these places I've got the green. I'll turn this end. Blue. I might need to go for a metallic blue because that one really isn't showing up, but that doesn't matter. And I think some red would be good. Let's go for a cadmium red. I just love these reflections. bit more green. Where's the green gone? Colours are fantastic. And a bit more of the magenta coming off that wheel. So I'm just looking at my metallic colours, and I think we go for the blue. That should show up quite nicely on here. I didn't want too much metallic, but take that sort of over. That's sort of giving quite a nice shadow on there. And I think we need some blue to balance it this side. So maybe not fill up all of that so much. And maybe a bit of green. Was that the right sort of green? And some gold, definitely some gold. And I think some little gold twinkles here and there. Yeah, tone down this white a bit with the lights that we would have. Oh, this is really starting to come together. A bit of green in there too would be quite good. Let's go for a gold green now. And the other green. And possibly a little bit of silver. Kill or cure. And a bit of graphite. graphite, I think we'll just join these up a little bit because it's nice and dark. And a few little marks here and there, lights in the distance that are very pale, hardly showing up at all on the hills. And I would say that was done.